Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into a real giant of the Indian economy, the services sector. It's often called the old warhorse, and for good reason. For decades, it's been that reliable, powerful engine just pulling our economy forward. So let's find out exactly how powerful we're talking.
And we're going to start with a number you absolutely have to remember. 55%. That's the massive slice of India's gross value added, or GVA, that comes from the services sector. Just think of GVA as the value of everything we produce minus the cost of the stuff used to produce it. So yeah, this makes services the single largest piece of our economic pie. It's a huge deal and definitely vital for your exams.
So that's the picture at home. But how does this domestic powerhouse really stack up against the rest of the world? Let's zoom out a bit and take a look at India's global standing in services.
And here's another key fact you'll want to jot down. India ranks seventh globally in services exports. We command a solid 4.3% share of the entire world's services trade. I mean, that's a real testament to our global competitiveness, especially in those areas we're known for, like IT and business services.
Now, what's really interesting here is the story this chart tells over time. If you look at that bar on the left, you'll see our share in global services exports has more than doubled since 2005. Doubled! Now compare that to merchandise exports on the right. Sure, it also grew, but at a much slower pace. The key takeaway is pretty clear. Services have been our undisputed star performer in exports. No contest.
All right, let's bring the focus back home and start decoding some of those domestic performance numbers. What exactly is it that makes this sector the undisputed champion of the Indian economy?
This number right here, it's all about resilience. 8.3%. That's the average growth rate of India's services sector in the years after the pandemic. I mean, even when other sectors were facing some serious headwinds, services didn't just recover, they accelerated. That really shows you just how robust and vital this sector is.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the confidence inside the sector. The Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, is a super important economic indicator. Anything above 50 means expansion. So the fact that India's services PMI has been above 50 for 41 consecutive months, that signals incredibly strong and sustained demand and a whole lot of business optimism.
Now for some really important jargon you need to know. Servicification. It sounds complex, but the idea is simple. It's that manufacturing and services are deeply connected. As manufacturing grows, it needs more services: logistics, finance, design, marketing, you name it. So a boom in one sector directly fuels the other. It's this symbiotic relationship that really drives our overall economic growth.
So, the big question is, how do we keep this engine running at full steam? Well, for that, we can turn to the strategic game plan laid out by Niti Aayog. And honestly, it provides a fantastic framework for understanding the government's policy priorities.
First up, we have the sectors to defend. Just think of these as our world champions. We're talking computer services, R&D, business services, the stuff that has a high share in both our GVA and our exports. So the strategy here is simple. Protect our leadership position, which is really built on our skilled English-speaking talent pool, and just maintain that global dominance.
Next, we've got the sectors to accelerate. Now, these are the strong domestic players. Think finance, transport, and education. They already contribute a ton to our GVA and create a lot of jobs, really leveraging India's huge domestic market. So the goal here is a big policy push to help them scale up and become serious global contenders.
Then we've got two more categories. On one hand, you have sectors to transform, like travel and health. They have massive potential, but they need some serious policy and infrastructure changes to really unlock it. And on the other hand, you have untapped sectors like telecom and insurance, which, let's be honest, are kind of underperforming right now. But with the right focus, they could become major growth drivers.
Okay, for your exams, here's a super simple way to remember this whole framework. Just think of the word DATU. D for defend, A for accelerate, T for transform, and U for untapped. DATU. It's a really handy mnemonic to help you recall Niti Aayog's strategic vision for the services sector. Easy peasy.
Okay, so now let's put a spotlight on some of the star subsectors to see these transformations in action.
Just look at this. This is a stunning data point on logistics. Thanks to the whole digitization of tolling with FASTag, the average waiting time at a toll plaza has plummeted from over 12 minutes down to just 47 seconds. I mean, that is a massive leap in efficiency. It saves fuel, time, money, and gives our entire supply chain a huge boost.
Here's another key term for you, Global Capability Centers, or GCCs. Now, these are not just call centers. No way. They are strategic hubs where the global giants do their high-end work, like R&D and product engineering, right here in India. We now have over 1,700 of these GCCs, employing nearly 1.9 million highly skilled professionals. It's a big deal.
And we have to talk about the ONDC, the Open Network for Digital Commerce. The important thing to get here is that this isn't another platform like Amazon, not at all. It's an open network that lets any small seller from any app be visible to any buyer. It's basically a move to democratize e-commerce, and with over 14 million transactions in a single month, well, it's clearly changing the game.
Okay, so from those specific examples, let's zoom out again to the national level and see how this whole growth story is playing out across different Indian states.
This slide right here gives you a brilliant, structured overview for your notes. We can pretty much categorize states based on their economic strengths. So you have some, like Gujarat, that are industrial powerhouses. Then you've got others, like Karnataka and Telangana, that are really strong service performers. And then there are states like Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu that have these dual strengths in both.
And this is a very telling statistic. Just 5 states, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, UP, and Gujarat, they account for more than half of India's entire service sector GVA. Notice something here? These are also industrial powerhouses. This perfectly illustrates that concept of servicification we talked about earlier, right? Where industry and services just grow hand in hand.
So after covering all of that ground, what do you absolutely need to remember? Let's wrap this all up with the key takeaways for your exam prep.
Okay, here it is, your rapid-fire revision. GVA share, around 55%. Global rank, 7th, with a 4.37% share. Key jargon to lock in, servicification, GCCs, ONDC, and REITs. For strategy, just remember that mnemonic, DADU. For states, Karnataka and Maharashtra are the leaders, making up over a quarter of the total services GVA. And the future focus? It's all about skilling our workforce for trends like AI and simplifying regulations. Got it? Good.
And we'll end with this thought. The services sector has been our reliable old warhorse for decades. But now, with the rapid rise of AI and all these shifting global dynamics, the big question is, can this old warhorse learn new tricks? Can it adapt and innovate to maintain its champion status in the decades to come? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.